Hello, welcome my friends. Tonight I'll be doing the foot yoga sequence all the way to the more advanced practice of Hasta padangusthasana, which is a balance pose, requiring a lot of connection from foot to crown of the head, a lot of understanding of the hip, the spine, the feeling of the energy going down and the energy going up. Once we've done the movement practice, focusing on the feet, then we'll sit and do our pranayama practices. This will include Uddiyana Bandha. It will include Kapalabhati, and it will also include a more calming practice of Nadi Shodhana. So these are really the most common and I feel important practices for your everyday yogi. And then we'll meditate. I'll guide you through a meditation. Let's begin with the feet, and we begin where we are. So we can begin just looking at the body, noticing how we feel. In the seated posture, you might rock a little backward and forward on the pelvis to get some feedback about how the hips feel, lower back, spine. You might move the arms a little to feel how your shoulders feel, your neck, upper back. A moment to feel into your body. The spine being the central interest, the energy that moves along the front of the spine, and the ability to take our attention inward and upward. So close the eyes momentarily and let the gaze almost gaze down towards your navel. You're gazing down past the heart, past the solar plexus, down to the navel. Just feel the in-breath and the out-breath. Notice the touch of the breath on the nostril tips. And the breath moving at the belly. On the exhalation, notice that the belly gently draws back towards the spine. Don't need to exaggerate that. Just allow it to happen. Feel the connection from the nostril tip to the belly, these 2 points. Almost like they're either end of the breath. Something happens at the nostrils on the in-breath, something happens at the belly, something happens at the nostrils on the out-breath, something happens at the belly. Simple connection. Release any holding on the spine or any gripping. The cheeks be soft, the forehead smooth, and the lightness across the eyebrows. Encourage the breath to become a little more regular, where the inhalation is about the same length as the exhalation. You might be breathing in for 3 and out for 3. Continue with drawing navel to spine on exhale. Open the eyes And really continue with this breath. You can use the Ujjayi breath as well. The rasping sound as you gently restrict the back of the throat, breathing in the nose. The air rubs against the back of the throat, that narrow passageway you created. And same on the out breath, as you breathe up, out, back of the throat and out the nose. Continue with the Ujjayi breath, hands to thighs to feel muscles of thighs, the bone beneath it and around your knees. Looking with the eyes at your body, feeling as you rub. The hand feels leg, the leg feels hand. Lifting up one leg, down the front of the shin bone, up the sides, down the front, up the sides, down to the ankle and around, and up the sides, down to the ankle and around, and up. Once more. Good. Lift the foot, and just a little point and flex of the foot. Looking at your foot, rotate one way, and rotate the other way. Looking at your foot, spread the toes as wide as you can, and then squeeze and tuck the toes. Spread and squeeze, spread and squeeze, spread and squeeze. Once more. Good. And release the foot down. Have a look at the foot with your eyes. Give it a little rub over the top of the foot, maybe over the toes, maybe fingers between the toes a little, if you like, between each one. Or maybe squeeze each toe. Up to you how your hand connects with foot, how your foot feels hand. Good. From there, turn the foot to face up. If you're flexy, you can place the foot on top of your opposite thigh. If you're not so flexy, you'll just be encouraging the foot to face the side wall or up to the ceiling a little more. Just a little drawing of the pinky toe edge of the foot around and in. So it's kind of like you're twisting the foot just a little, lengthening the outer ankle. Pulling the little pinky toe under. Massage and release. Let's change to the other side. Just a little swiping down the front of the shins. You can have your fingers either side of the shin bone and around and up the sides. Down the front and up. Include the ankle as you come down, really wrap around the ankles, or malleoli, that's how I pronounce them. And then include also the top of the foot as well. And lifting up through the back of the knee, going to point and flex through the foot. Rotate the ankle, rotate the other way. You can look at the foot with your eyes, just get a little bit more feedback. Stretch the toes as wide as you can. Remember, the toes work all the way back towards right to the middle of the foot. So the toe bones are much longer than the little toes you see. Yeah? So when you spread the toes, you're really spreading all this mid part of your foot as well. And squeeze and spread and squeeze and spread. Each time you spread, you might feel slight differences, more opportunities. Squeeze and releasing down. Give the foot a nice rub. You can rub between the toes. You can squeeze each toe. Wow, I've got a really stiff one here. So you might notice there's some differences. Some are more relaxed, some are more stiff. Each toe has its own personality. And you can also take the foot to face up and give it a really good rub, massage, or just work that action of getting the foot to kind of turn and face up and the knee to open up. Can be a little difficult, you know, you might be here with cushions under the knee for support. You might just be rotating the ankle, and that's as much as you can do. That's just a little twisty action for the foot. A bit more energy into the lateral edge of the foot, the pinky toe side, as you squeeze and release. Foot to the floor. See how that feels to have the foot flat on the floor. Shake out through the hands. I like to do a little bit of a cleansing action for the hands after I've been touching the feet. And that is a clap and rub and get lots of heat in the hands. Squeeze navel to spine, intensify that heat, drawing navel to spine. And shake out, shake, 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 shake. Or even wipe them on your clothes. Let's continue with our footwork today. Feet are on the floor, hands behind you. We're just going to create a little bit of weight into those feet. So you're going to lift the bottom off the floor and come down. And I'll show you the side view of this movement. Feet at hip distance, hands on the floor. Lift the bottom and come down. And really spread your toes. Keep them really spread. I'm looking at my toes to see just how spread they are. And when I come down, I check, they're still spread. They're even getting a little bit crampy today because I'm spreading them more than I normally do. And come down, check, still spread. And release. So we're going to come up to standing. You can come up to standing a number of different ways. I like to use as much natural movement as possible. If you need to, you can lower one knee and use that foot on the floor to get you that propulsion up into a lunge. You can untuck the toe if that's too much of a stretch. Come up into your lunge that way. Think about how you feel comfortable to get up. You might drop to one side, turn to face the floor, come up that way, and make your way to standing. However you would naturally, quite comfortable and easeful, like you were among friends having a conversation. And just notice how you feel in your hips, one hip and the other hip, if there's any difference. How you feel in your feet. Is one leg taking all the weight? Is one leg quite light and not quite as grounded? Sometimes one foot is the foot that leads, takes you in the direction it wants to go, and the other foot is the kind of the axis, the one that you pivot around. But just notice if you have any of those relationships going on between your feet and hips. And then we're just going to rock a little with the hips in this natural stance that we have so that we can put the weight in one leg and then put it into the other leg. With your front foot, if you have a front foot, let the toe lift. If your way of standing is actually quite solid, then your sway will be side to side. But I really encourage you, as you go to one side, turn the toe out, lift the toe, and then other side, turn and lift. Really want you to get a sense that drawing the toes back is really normal, really natural, really energizing actually. It's a nice feeling. Yeah, draw that toe back. So we're going to go a little wider now, coming into more of a yoga type stance. Step one foot back. The action of stepping the foot back is really central to a lot of my teaching and really freeing. It's like it opens up this whole new world of possibility we didn't know existed. All we have to do is take a step back. New things open, including our pelvis, maybe our mind, our experience at the moment. So what we're doing is lifting the front toe as the weight comes out of that foot and sitting a little into the back leg. You can almost lift this front leg. And then put the front foot down. Once you have a good structure, the toes are well spread, there's a little lift in the instep of the foot, you've got a little bit of your three arches happening, then we transfer the weight over. So you think structure first, the foot is down, instep is lifted, the three arches. So our transverse arch goes from the big toe side to the little toe side, across the front of the foot like a rainbow. And it's not well appreciated or understood. So you can just press your toes down a little, and you might see the way that that forefoot puffs up just through pressing the toes down. And there's also an arch in the outer edge foot. Now I've been finding this totally transforming in terms of being able to connect to the outside of my leg and into my hip on my non-grounding side leg. The one that likes to lead and move and be mobile but not stay still. It's learning how to stay still, and we're going to do that today. So if you like, you can have the hands on the hips and start lifting the back foot. So we're feeling, well, how solid is that structure? Toes are spread, 3 arches are having a bit of breath in them. The foot plumps up a little. The foot is active with the earth. Think of it like this suction shape, not just flat, but one more little feel into those structures of the foot, how it changes the aliveness up the leg, into the hip and up through the spine. You might even use the arms to express that. And we'll go to the other side. So you can bend both knees, back toe in, heel out. Now this is the front toe and the toe lifts. We begin with a little hello. You're taking the weight into the foot. Hello. Now you know what it's like to take the responsibility of the weight of the body. Now, do you let it flatten you? Hopefully not. Or do you soak up that energy? Create a lovely 3-arched aliveness. Yeah, so this one's pretty flat in my transverse arch, going from my little toe to my big toe side, across forefoot. And that's fine. I might just have a little more pressing of my toes down. Even a little leaning forward. All you need to do is lean forward, and wow, you're going to get those toes down, those calves activated, and your transverse arch going, whoo, just a little lean forward. Let's come back again to our Ardha Chandrasana. Lift the toes, stretching the calf. Find your lift through your instep, inner ankle, your outside arch, alive and active as well. And maybe you can find some balance or not. So the beauty of not having balance is something that you and I can have. When you are in yoga, it is not about anybody else. So to lose balance is nowhere near wrong. Your attention is on where the balance is, what is happening in your body. When you lose balance, your attention is still on, what is happening? What happened that I fell over? Maybe I was a bit too fast. Maybe I hadn't awoken the outer edge muscles of my foot yet. It's this inquiry. And we just go back and continue with our practice, almost like there is no interruption at all. So do notice if your nervous system gets activated by losing balance. And more in your yoga practice, train the nervous system to stay neutral all the way through whatever happens. Totally neutral. Very good for our perspective. This is between me and me. To not have balance is a simple truth. I didn't have balance. It has nothing to do with the judgment of right or wrong, skillful or unskillful. Just a simple truth. See, now I'm playing with balance. I love balance. But we were doing Ardha Chandrasana. And you might stay in the balanced pose for a little longer. For me, this side is not wanting to balance, it's wanting to just find grounding. So I'm just going to give it that. If you are in a beautiful open Ardha Chandrasana and feeling wonderful, great. But I've got a few things to explore here, particularly this inner knee engaging a little more. And my tiredness of my outer hip. So there's a lot going on for me. Just do a quick twisted triangle. I think it's really going to help free what's going on with our leg. Okay, I'll do that later. And let's come back. Turn the toes out to a 45. Look at the instep of the foot. Have a nice plump active foot. show you a not active foot. Active foot. Inhale. Palms face down to the earth. Exhale. Inhale. You don't have to straighten all the way with the legs, just a little. Exhale. Have the mind in the feet. Just the feet. Can your feet be like hands, trying to hold on to and grab a ball? So you're really lifting the inner arch of the foot, also known as the medial arch, the big toe side arch. Once more, breathe in. Toes alive, spreading, and we'll stay here. Inhale, hands to prayer, elbows floating at the same height as the heel of the hand, shoulders back. Breathe. Inhale, rising up, straight legs, and exhale, hands to hips. Turning to the side, triangle pose. Hips can face front, hand perhaps on shin bone, pressing shin up into hand, or hand to sky. Shoulder blades onto the ribs, particularly bottom tip of the shoulder blades, the inner edge, the neck and head are free. Look down at the front foot, look at those toes. Look down at the foot to see the musculature of the midfoot, forefoot. Then you roll a little to the big toe side, dropping the inner arch. Roll the foot a little to the little toe side, dropping the outer edge foot. Just a little conscious and slow roll from side to side again. And this time as you do it, I'd really like you to feel what's happening in your hip. What's happening in your hip and what's happening in your knees. You drop one way and then the other. Keep a little more to the pinky toe side, so you really roll to the outer edge, lifting the inner edge. Good. And drop the back hand. Inhale, coming up, and over to the other side. Inhale. Exhale. Now this stance is really quite narrow for me, so I'm going to go a bit wider just to get a little more evenness in my hips. You don't have to if you're feeling tight or the balance isn't there. Look at the foot. Create your three arches. Nice regular Ujjayi breath, and then drop the inner edge, drop the outer edge. Do that a few more times. See what happens in the shin bone. Particularly as you drop the inner edge, you'll notice this outer calf muscle, shin bone, it rolls forward and around. If you were to lift it up and lift the inner arch and lift the inner ankle, you'd be cutting this outer shin bone back towards your back heel. That gives you a really lovely lift in the arch of the foot. And we'll stay in that way, the weight more to the pinky toe side. Inhale, coming up, and release. A little bit more for our foot today. So we're going to square our hips off to face this side. Lower the back knee. Back toe is tucked. This is the lunge, beautiful for our hips. The back toe is tucked. I just want you to notice how that feels. Have those back toes tucked. And I'm just rocking a little from forward and back to take the pressure off and put it on different parts of the toes. Good. We're going to change sides. You can take the fingers to the mat. Front foot comes back. Change. Tuck the back toes, hands to hips. You can roll over the ball of the back foot side to side. Once it feels warmed up, forward and back. See how far you can come back safely. Breathing through the nose. So good for our feet, our beautiful feet. They need this sensation. Really think we free up so much energy when we stretch these hidden parts of our body, even though they're peripheral, the fingers, the toes. Oh, they really love a good stretch. And use sensation. Then we come forward with the fingers, both toes tucked, and take the bottom back. Some of you will be like, oh, that's enough for me. Others will be like, I can go all the way. Quite happy to sit here for half an hour. Toes are tucked under, the weight of the hips sitting on the heels, shoulders relaxed. If it's too much at any time, just come forward or place the fingers to the mat. Take a breath and then come back. See if you can activate the toes. So rather than sitting on sort of dead feet, can you get the toes to speak to you a little? They might feel they want to lengthen forward or spread wide or draw back towards the foot. So many things they can do. They're really not silly or silent. Once they start talking, whoo, we can hear it. There. Now I must admit, my foot journey began when my Iyengar teacher put his hand underneath one of my toes, my little toe, on the foot side of the toe, and pulled it out. And I screamed. He stuck his finger in there and just said, this needs to come out this way. Well, the pain stayed with me, and then in the shower, ever since then, I think this was 6 years ago, easily. In the shower, I just do this stretch of my toes in the morning. I don't know why I think of my feet when I'm in the shower, but I do. And I do this opening up of my foot, and I feel the pain that he gave me. You wouldn't think a teacher's supposed to give you pain. Somehow it just really imprinted upon me that I could make this incredible triangle between big toe base, little toe base that didn't exist before then, and the back heel. So my tripod is really present to me now. All right, so you probably had quite enough of the Zazen pose. You're feeling like a Zazen monk, a Zen monk. Ooh. How about we just take the fingers behind and lift the knees? Lower the heels. It's not too easy, is it? Or you could untuck the toes, lift the knees and stretch the front of the foot. This one also can be quite difficult for people. Maybe you can have the hands forward and balance here. And then releasing down. Come to cross legs. Have your feet so that they are underneath the knees and facing horizontal to the walls, so that you're not dropping the top of the foot. Hands over the knees, roll the shoulders back, sitting up nice and tall. Continue with your Ujjayi breath and the awareness of the breath on the nostril tip and the belly just below the navel. Notice the movement of the belly as you inhale, the nostril tip. The movement of the belly as you exhale, the nostril tip. The sense of your spine all the way from your pelvis, and the spine is right at the back of the pelvis, the sacrum, tailbone. They're the very base of your spine. But I want you to be more at the front of the spine as you come up. So be on the inside of the back wall of your pelvis, the inside of the sacrum. Make your mind's way slowly up through the lumbar spine, the large bones of the lumbar spine that come in towards the digestion organs, all the way up to the bottom of the thoracic spine, so the bottom of the spine behind the heart, up behind the heart, past the back of the heart, up through the bottom of the neck, mid-neck, top portion of the neck where we meet the base of the skull, but we're going right up into the base of the skull, and the neck reaching right up behind the nose. And energetically the spine right up past the back of the eyes, up through the crown of the head, and opening up like a lotus flower to the universe, to the sky above, the stars above, all of the planets, solar systems and galaxies, and perhaps even open to the entire universe. Have a sense of your fullness and the fullness that you are intimately a part of. Have a feeling of the fullness of the universe and the fullness that is you. Be with your spine. Be with your spine. Let it be a place you can rest into, melt into, breathe from, feel from, love. You can dissolve the mind into the spine. You can rise up from the spine into action, intention. You can sink back into the spine and rest. So this action, like a snake through the spine, being able to rest back, recharge, recoil, and then spring up into life. We want to feel our spine has this quality. I can rest back into it like there's this massive tree trunk behind me, and I'm just, resting into that support. But then, there's a spark, there's an energy that takes me forward and up into life. And then I melt back down to a deep, softening rest. This is the spine you want to know. This is the spine that comes from feet that can do that too. That can ground, rest with the earth, but then suck up from the earth. Okay, let's come to Hasta padangusthasana. Hasta is hand, pada is foot. So it'll look like this. One hand to your hip, that's the grounding leg, so have your foot be a little bit alive from toes to the bones of the toes, back into the heel. And then we lift the other leg. Now if you're flexi, you won't just take a hold of the big toe, you'll actually be able to straighten that leg out. I recommend taking a hold of the big toe in the pistol grip way. So you've got 2 fingers and thumb. They go on the inside between the big toe and the next toe. Wrap around the big toe, thumb around the fingers, and stretch forward from there. There's a lot of technical things in Hasta padangusthasana. So we've got our grounding leg. Feel free to bend it if it is too much to have it straight. Yes, and feel a bit comfortable and spongy in those hips. Take a hold of the big toe in the pistol grip. Lift the leg. Now, if that's enough, leave the knee bent. I'm going to wobble a bit, which in this case isn't great because I don't want you to be distracted as much as I love a wobble. So push the base of the big toe forward. Let the leg feel it's straightening energetically, because you can just straighten your leg, but then you can energetically straighten your leg, where the energy inside the leg wakes up and the energy suddenly feels light. So light you don't even need the hand. That's how light it can feel. Now we roll the top shoulder back and we pull up through this sort of base of the thumb is pulling up, so that the whole arm feels, I'm connected right through the toe. The arm and the leg feel like they're one unit. After a few breaths here, you might start to open the leg out to the side. So something has to happen in this outer hip to do that. It has to go, whew, I'm going to be a part of this action. So you don't want to feel like your foot is going out to the side. No, you're thinking something's happening in my hip to move that foot to the side. So this is the focus of attention. Now I like to go from 12 o'clock to 1 o'clock, then after a few breaths 2 o'clock, after a few breaths 3 o'clock, then 4 o'clock, if you can get to 4 o'clock. So after we do this, I automatically go in because that's my practice. From there, I'll come straight into placing the foot onto the thigh and a forward bend, if you can. Fingers to the floor if you can make it. Take a hold of the ankle. Fingers towards floor, knees together. Breathe in. So as I start to take the knee back, I feel there's this tendency to want to drop the inner arch of my foot. Because the muscles of the outer edge of my foot are working so hard, they're tired. They're really tired. So I recommend a wall to take the balance out of the equation and to quieten things down so you can really feel what's happening. Like how great to be able to feel, wow, those muscles are so tired. Because when I feel that, I have a really clear picture in my mind of where those muscles are. Otherwise, I wouldn't even know where they are or that they existed. So I'm like, there's these muscles that go from like the front of the heel on that lateral side all the way towards the little toe. And they're achy when I do this. Maybe they're getting stronger. So I'm getting this picture of my own foot. Basically, we don't even own our foot. It's like this hot property that we don't even know we own because we've never lived in it, experienced it, seen it, walked through its rooms, and your foot has many interesting rooms. I think there's even like a spa bath in there somewhere. No. It really does. It's like you get to own more of yourself when you do yoga. So, of course, you can think, oh, I can't do this pose because I'm so wobbly. But if we are like, whoa, there's hot property in here, I really feel the ache. I really feel the effort that is going on through this outer side edge of my foot. And I can almost see where the balls of my foot are. I don't know anything about anatomy, but I can tell there's something here that's a more solid part. Maybe there's a joint there. Maybe where two bones ends meet. And maybe they've got a little bit more roundness to them, so there's more weight, more bone. I can feel a muscle coming up through here. So, keep exploring the sequence. If you like, let's go for the other side. So you do the same thing, hand on, hip of the grounding foot, pistol grip, slide between that big toe, thumb wraps around fingers, balance. So at this point, I really like everything to be about the hip and being able to lift up off the top of the leg. Create breath and space, and that goes up through the spine as well. Not and not So if you have balance issues, use a wall, and that will give you more space to go. Sit bone with spine. Sit bone not going down into the back of the leg and not going forward, but sort of back and up. Back and up, not down and forward. Top thigh bone lower back. Hasta, padangusthasana. You can do from 12 o'clock with this leg. I go out to 11 o'clock, 10 o'clock, 10 and a half o'clock, or 9 and a half o'clock. I might not make it to 9 o'clock. And then once you've done that, take a hold of the foot, Padangusthasana, dancer pose. You've got the balance. And yet I'm really feeling, okay, now in this pose, as I start Padangusthasana, I actually feel the muscles of the inside of the foot really challenged on this leg. I feel a burn, I feel an ache, I feel tiredness, and for the shin bone and calf, corresponding feelings as well. So I'm not thinking of, oh, I'm going to come forward and push my foot back and do a pose, because you will get nothing out of that. I'm thinking foot, foot, foot. What are you telling me? What are you feeling? How can I help you? Well, I can lift up out of the pelvis, lift up off the leg bone. I can be light through my upper body. And the foot's like, yeah, that really helps. That's so much better, Katie, thank you. And have we done this one? Forward fold. Sometimes I bend and do a little prayer position to come. And release. Hasta padangusthasana. Absolutely adore it. It's my 4 a.m. pose that I do when I wake up in the middle of the night for no reason. And I don't need any space, just next to my bed. I've put my hand next to the door of the ensuite and doop, 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 doop. You wouldn't think activating the nervous system like into that sympathetic fight or flight phase of the nervous system would be great in the middle of the night to get back to sleep, but it is. You activate it and then it just goes, yeah, I'm ready to sleep now. I've processed what I need to process. 5 minutes later, I'm asleep. So it's really great to do this rocking forward and back, lifting of the heels, and not doing it mindlessly, but really feeling what's happening in the balls of the foot. What is so great about this? Really feeling it. I love to have my hands represent what's happening in my feet, just to raise that consciousness a little bit more. One more here, raise. And do whatever you like. For me, it's stillness, silence. I just want to enjoy the aliveness in these legs. Thank them with a massage, perhaps. Maybe a very special lotus pose if you have that flexibility. And never ever force, never try to pull yourself into lotus. I don't have to tell you that. I think if you're my student, you already know that. Okay. Pranayama. Sitting up nice and tall. If you need supports, pop them underneath the sit bones. The spine is important. That means having more of a forward tilt of the pelvis. Then we do that. Great. Let's begin with Uddiyana Bandha, the drawing back of the navel to spine. I'll show you a little bit more closely. So as we exhale, there's an upward feeling from the belly, drawing back and up. The feeling is that you're drawing the organs of the abdomen up, right up under the lungs. We forward fold. Keep the breath out as you come up and do the full suction all the way up. So the belly is sucked all the way back, the chest is broad, wide. I'm cutting here at the ribs so they're really sharp. Hold that breath out, the bandha drawing up, pelvic floor alive and connected. Relax the bandha, belly drops forward. Inhale. 3 natural breaths. Exhale. Keep the breath out, coming up to sitting. Draw up Uddiyana Bandha. Stay in Uddiyana Bandha for as long as you can comfortably. Release the bandha. Inhale. Return to natural breaths. Let's do 2 more. Exhale. Keep the breath out as you come up to Uddiyana Bandha. You should feel a slight suction pulling at the back of the throat. As you're ready, release the Bandha. Inhale. Natural breaths. Exhale. Release Bandha. Inhale. Close the eyes. Rest. Close the eyes and just be. Be with the inner world, your inner life, with all that surrounds it, outside of your skin. And letting these layers of self really merge in a life, outer world, all is one. From there, opening the eyes. Kapalabhati. We'll just do 2 rounds of 40 Kapalabhati breaths, drawing navel to spine very sharply as you exhale out the nose. The inhalation is passive, it's natural because of the suction, the vacuum that's caused by such a strong exhale in the body. Looks like this. Join me if you wish. At the end of 40, inhale, hold the inhalation, lift Mula Bandha, gentle Uddiyana Bandha. No Jalandhara Bandha, you can just keep the neck a little soft and open. Open at the throat. Crown of the head glistening, sparkling, awake. Release the bandhas, exhale completely. And again. Inhale. Holding the breath in. Kumbhaka. Lift pelvic floor, gentle Uddiyana Bandha. No Jalandhara Bandha. Soft open throat, neck, crown of the head. Feel Kumbhaka. Feel in the body the broadness, the space in the lungs, ribs. Release the bandhas, release the exhalation all the way out. Close the eyes and just be. Completely open to all that arises on the surface of your consciousness now. And finally, you will use alternate the breath in alternate nostril breathing. So we're going to use, for the right hand, the thumb will cover the right nostril, we'll breathe in through the left. Cover the left, breathe out through the right. Breathe in through the right. Cover the right, breathe out left. You can breathe in for 4, hold for 2, breathe out for 8, hold for 2. Or any system that feels right for you. So you might want to lengthen the exhalation to calm the nervous system. You might want to keep the in and out breath even, to just keep it a little bit more balanced. So it's your choice. I'll be doing in for 4, hold for 2, out for 8, hold for 2. So as you're ready, closing off the right nostril, breathe in the left, 2, 3, 4, close it over, hold, 2. Breathe out right, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, hold. Just relax in that hold, 2. Inhale right, 2, 3, 4, hold as you cover, 2. And breathe out left, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Hold, just relax with the breath out. Breathe in left, 2, 3, 4, hold, 2. Breathe out right, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Pause, just relax. Breathe in right, 2, 3, 4, hold. Breathe out left, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Pause, relax. Breathe in left, 2, 3, 4, 5. Oops, I'm starting to lengthen it. So I might breathe in my left for 6 now and breathe out right for 8. I think a longer inhalation is needed, but that's based on what I'm actually feeling today. I've spent a lot of energy doing my Hatha yoga, my Hasta padangusthasana practice. I really feel I want more of that in breath. Yeah, 6 in, 8 out, 2 is the hold. Breathing in right, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, hold. Breathe out left for 8. Continue your own practice for about another minute with the rhythm of breath that suits you. If you feel you are pushing the boundaries a little, please step back. Go back to a count that is more comfortable. The importance of this is paramount. If we can live in a way that understands staying where it's comfortable when it's the right thing to do, and only venturing out to the boundaries when that's the right thing to do. How wonderful to be able to trust ourselves. And we can learn it here in the Pranayama practice. This intimate relationship between body and breath, between heart and mind. One last round, you're going to finish breathing out the left nostril. And then you'll sit in meditation. Thank you so much for your time and for sharing yoga with me. Really hope you've enjoyed exploring your feet, discovering you've got more property here in this body that's now yours that might not have been before. Woohoo! You're getting property rich in yoga. And that the breath is showing you its preciousness and its subtle secrets. It's a very intimate exploration, and I feel it's like finding precious gems. Bye-bye. Thank you. We learn all about our feet and how to make more value in our own body, how to have more property. And every other part of your body has new parts to discover. It's like a present you've been given that you haven't unwrapped yet. And you're like, it's so full of interestingness. And you unwrap a little and you have a look and you're like, oh my God, there's more. And then you unwrap that. Oh my God, there's more. Enjoy the unraveling of this mystery and wonder of the body.